So my name is Allison Daigle, and I'm the co-director of the Autism Alliance with Pam McKillop, you just met. We also have tonight Katie Cassavant, our autism specialist, joining us. So I first want to thank you all for joining us this evening. The Autism Alliance welcomes guest speaker Sheeva Abolhassani. She is a speech language pathologist and also founder of ASD 123. We're going to be, the workshop tonight will focus on strategies parents can do in the home with their child to increase their language skills using technologies in a way to target their child's social skills. It will feature an app called ASD 123, which is an interactive learning platform to aid in language abilities. We are so incredibly happy to have Sheeva here with us this evening. She is scheduled for this presentation until 7:30. And with that being said, I hope you enjoy the evening. And I now turn it over to you, Sheeva.
Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here. I'm just gonna share my screen to get my presentation up. Okay. So I'm gonna just go into slideshow. All right, everyone see this screen? Oh, great. All right, so I am happy to present on my topic tonight, increasing speech therapy access through technology and tips. So a bit about me. I have been working in the field as a speech therapist for the past 12 years. And during this time, I've had the opportunity to work in a variety of different settings. So that's clinics, hospitals, nursing homes, schools, special schools, and also with a variety of different difficulties. So that's Down syndrome, stuttering, stroke, autism, which I found to be my main area of interest to be in. And further to this, I've had the opportunity to work in a variety of different states, and such as New York, California, here in Massachusetts, as well as abroad in the United Kingdom in London. And I'm now back in the States and working in a clinic and working on my own startup, which is an app to aid the language abilities of children. And I'll go more into that later as the talk progresses. So just a baseline here on what speech therapy is. Speech therapy focuses on improving an individual's speech and abilities to understand and express language. This includes nonverbal language. Many people might think, oh, nonverbal language, that's not really communication. It is communication. It's really important and just as important. And speech therapy can be both structured through set tasks for an individual to complete or set activities, or unstructured through play, but still targeting the key areas that are being worked on. So it might be via something more structured like a testing, or via play, where we're still looking for those key areas that we want to monitor or assess. So how does speech therapy help? Well, first, the individual is assessed using formal testing or informal through play and activities, as mentioned previously in the previous slide. And once we have which areas we need to target and assess and work on, those areas of need are then identified for the speech therapist. And the speech therapist will then set out goals for the child or the individual to achieve and work on during the sessions. And speech therapy is really for any age, birth until death. Is, we work from all stages, from the moment the child is born, if perhaps they are having difficulty with feeding, and all the way through elderly ages as well, for dementia and stroke as well. So we work on any area throughout humans' life as they progress, and aiding them in developing any key skills that they perhaps need some assistance with. Now, here I just want to show a speech and language development milestone chart. And I only want to just go through, point out a few items. So some key areas to note are the child's first word usually will occur around 12 months of age. by 1 to 2 years, they'll start to place 2 words together, and they'll also begin to produce, follow one-step directions, maybe something like roll the ball. And at 2 to 3 years of age, a child's vocabulary would grow to have a lot more words and maybe almost a word for everything. And at 3 to 4 years, a child will begin to answer simple who or what questions and respond when you call them from a different room in the home or outside. And while expressive and receptive, or the speaking and understanding of language, is really important, what's also really important is that the development of the child's social skills or social emotional skills. And that's them being able to interact with others. So around 6 months of age, the child will start to respond to others' emotions. At 12 months of age, the child will start to wave bye-bye, and perhaps there might be some hand clapping. And at 36 months, there's some turn taking involved during games presented. So what I really want to take most of tonight is to discuss is strategies you can use with your child to increase the speech and language skills in the home or wherever you are. Because the great thing about speech and language is you don't need to have any fancy equipment. You don't need to buy any extra toys. We do that naturally. And it's just about honing in and utilizing some key strategies with your child at any time in the day or in the home, outside, wherever you are. So the first strategy I want to go into is called pausing. And pausing is something so simple that you can do, but actually it can be quite difficult to do at some time because, you know, you are the caregiver or the parent of a child and you know what the child wants immediately. So you want to give that item to them immediately because you know what they need and what you think they might need. So what pausing is to wait before answering for your child. So perhaps you start to label something. So perhaps I have like this pen and we're just saying, oh, there's the pen. You're doing that teaching element. Wow, do you want the pen? Oh, there you go. It's a, and you have that pause for them to see if they will fill it in and maybe say pen, maybe not, but giving that moment for them to take that time to respond or say that. And the same goes for pausing when you look at a book together. So you might want to just quickly start to say, oh, I see the bear, or I see the boat, whatever is on the pages. What I want you to really try is open that book, look at that first page, give about 15-20 seconds, and just pause. Don't say anything at all, and see what your child will say, see what they will produce. And then after that time, then you might want to label something that you see, maybe bear, and then pause again. So that's a really great way to have your child begin to use the words for themselves and be kind of motivated because you're giving them that moment, that pause. And you can also do this when singing a song. I'll go into discussing a bit about music later, but with pausing, what you could also do is singing and then pause to see if your child will look to you and then continue on the song as well. Now, the next strategy I want to present is labeling. And labeling is also just that. It's kind of you labeling something to teach your child. So perhaps your child wants the juice and you know they want the juice. Now, instead of just giving them the juice, you're going to involve some pausing as well. You're going to label juice and, point to the juice, and or maybe you put your index finger on your chin, juice, and the child is looking at you there at your mouth when you're producing it. And once you have the labeled juice, you can then give that to the child and say juice. So you're giving them that learning element, that teaching moment as well, while you're giving them an item they really want. You can label when you're outside, things you see. So maybe you see a bird. Oh, wow, look at the bird. There's the tree. As you're walking, you're labeling things. So the child is visually seeing that item and associating it with what you're labeling it or naming it as. And repetition with that is also great. I'll go into that as well later in the session today. The next area I want to discuss is, our strategy is indirect speaking. So sometimes children will gain language in a indirect manner. So what I like to do is maybe speak to an inanimate object. So maybe a teddy bear, or maybe knocking on the door and saying, hello, is anyone there? While you're not directly speaking to your child, they're taking it all in. You're giving your child that healthy language environment for them to be surrounded by. So maybe, you have a pen and, oh, pen, we're going to write this. Or you're maybe doing a chore in the kitchen or something, and you're saying, now I'm going to fold the towel. You're indirectly speaking to the child, but the child is taking it in. So you're giving them that healthy language environment for all that's going on. And the knocking on the door one is quite a fun one. So you might go to the door, knock on it, and say, hello, is anyone there? And your child might be looking at you like, what is going on? But they're taking it in. There's an action, and there's some kind of a game. So indirect speaking is also a positive thing to try, a strategy to try with your child. These are all great strategies you can use in the home, outside, in the car, wherever you may be. Now, motivating activities are things that your child is interested in, and it's best to utilize things that your child is interested in during activities to motivate them and guide them. So things like maybe they like bubbles, they like bouncy balls, or any character from a TV show. And it's something that they'll want to come to attend the activity to. They'll want to attend and participate. And perhaps they really like, I think, Paw Patrol is some of these pictures here. You can present Paw Patrol. And what's also really great about motivating activities, you can build the language utilizing those items. And with these motivating activities, you could have these special toys that the child likes and keep them kind of separate from their regular toys. So they're still very new when it's time to have an activity or you want to try out a strategy with them. So you're kind of keeping them almost hidden in a way. So having those motivating toys and items can be really helpful for your child to just, have them want to be motivated to want to attend and participate in the activity or strategy you're presenting.
Yes, we had
Yep.
a question that came up, just question for example of indirect. So from the previous slide, a few more examples of that, please. Thanks.
Sure, of course. So what I mean by indirect is, one moment, let me grab a special item. So your child might just be, sitting somewhere in the living room or bedroom, and perhaps they're not really ready to participate in an activity, or they are not perhaps in the right mood to want to, but they're there, they're taking it all in. They might have a favorite teddy bear, you might have a teddy bear or something. So I've got my little teddy bear here, and what I would do is something like, all right, Teddy, so let's get some cars. Oh, you got the green car. And you're indirectly, your child is right there, and they perhaps like cars, but you're directing it to the teddy bear. Or, oh, teddy bear, which block should we pick next? And you're guiding them in that manner. So their child is still hearing what's going on, but you're speaking to the bear versus a child, but they're taking it in. And also it's almost a little bit of less pressure on the child to be, direct to them in some ways. I've had some kids where it's been more helpful for me to speak to a giant stuffed teddy bear because it helps them feel a bit more calm as well. So kind of guiding that, gauging that as well, as far as helping them feel calm, but also you're giving them that healthy language environment. So I hope that was helpful. Now, as far as descriptions, they're also something great you can do with your child. And this is something that can be done during play. So you're describing what a toy is doing. So maybe when you're playing, you have maybe a dog item, and you're saying, oh, now the dog's going to jump on the roof, or it's going to eat. You're just describing what it's doing. Or maybe you're watching a YouTube clip and the cat is feeling sad or something. Oh no, the cat is sad. It's not happy. The ice cream fell down. You're giving that description, you're giving those language utterances for your child to take in and hear. And so it's never really sitting quietly. You're constantly giving them that healthy language environment that they're in. And much like the example I mentioned before, maybe they're in the room next to you and you have some towels or something that you're folding, or you're making something. You can describe kind of what you're doing for the child to also listen and take that in as well. Now, as far as music, it's also a really great activity to really unleash a different part of the child's brain. So what I recommend is singing songs that are slower. So maybe slow and steady songs with repetitive words. Think like songs like Row, Row, Row Your Boat. And if you go to YouTube, you can type in like slow speed songs for kids. There are songs, nursery rhymes, nursery songs that are at a slower pace, and that's pretty helpful as well. Now, a little example or story I have with music is I was working with a child when I was living in New York City, and this child, it was in a acute rehab in the hospital, and the child had maybe a few single words or 4 or 5 words or so, putting phrases together, if I remember correctly. And when we played a song, particularly Halo by Beyonce, when we played that song, she would listen and sing that song from beginning to end. So music really does unleash a different part of the brain. And also with music, what you could also do is make your home life a bit of a Broadway show. So perhaps singing a word or singing a phrase, a sentence to your child. So maybe when you go back to labeling and teaching your child a new word or a new item that you're presenting, you could also present it in a song. So, maybe it's like teddy bear, like as you're producing that song phrase instead of just a direct teddy bear, because that music will be unleashing a different part of the brain. And I think it's also very helpful in language learning as well. The next set of strategies I want to go over and present is repetition and consistency. So repetition is key. If you think back to when you were learning a new language, if you remember, repetition can really aid with the learning of words because you're hearing that word or that phrase again and again. So having that repeated, you take it in. Learning, I think with humans, we are like 8 times when you repeat a word, that's when it sticks with you. So that repetition and learning is really helpful. And consistency, what I mean by that is using the same word or the same phrase initially until the child has learned it and picked it up. So for example, are you using the phrase tidy up consistently, or are you using the phrase clean up? So it's good to keep one consistent and repeat it, utilizing that, and then switching to another one to aid the child in learning, oh, tidy up also means clean up. It's the same thing. They're learning the action. And
we have one more in the chat that just came in. Can you give more ideas for music? Sure.
Do you mean music to listen to, or things to do, or well, I'd say sorry.
Things to do.
Oh, things to do with music. What you could also do is make your own kind of music. So maybe you take a pot or a pan, and maybe you're just producing some phrases or some words, we say consonant vowel syllables. So maybe you're just doing ba, and the child is doing ba, and they're hitting that and imitating. Or then you can build it into a song, maybe going, bringing in some, hit the pan and singing it that way, or maybe bringing your own music in that manner, or when you are listening to music, you're singing it together, having something interactive together, perhaps The Wheels on the Bus is a popular one, a popular song that has many elements. There's a part where it's like the baby's on the bus and then they do the wah, wah, wah. So that's a really great element. There's some action involved. Trying to think, row, row, row your boat. As I mentioned, that's a really great one. It's repetitive. ABC songs. So thinking back to nursery songs and thinking back to slow speed songs, which you can find on YouTube to aid is really helpful. And bringing that music to life in the home. So maybe, the child remembers to say bread in a sing-songy tone, bread, and then it transfers to bread. So music can add many elements. So I hope that was helpful.
Yeah, thank you.
Oh, great. So now to the repetition consistency, a game that I wanted to present is when you're doing a game or activity, I want you to think about what word do you want to work on. So for example, a popular word is more. So let's say we have bubbles, okay? And I blow the bubbles and then I close it, I put it away. The child, I'll be modeling more. And what I like to do is put my index finger on my chin and I like to say more, and the child might repeat it, might not. We also bring in maybe a bit of a sign, so more. So if they repeat it and imitate it, that's great. If not, that's also okay, because you're then going to model more, and then you're going to open the bubble jar and present again, blow bubbles again, put it down, and then model more again. If the child imitates, great. So you're going to do that repeatedly. So you might do maybe 8-10 rounds of more. This is just an example for your child. And then maybe by the 7th time, 6th time, 7th time, your child will then say more. And then you take the bubble to blow. So repetition is not just, we're just going to use the word more once. We're doing it repeatedly, again and again, as we learn this word. And keeping it consistent as well. So you're not just going to blow the bubble before modeling more as well. So that's where I mean for repetition and consistency. As far as mirror work, mirrors are really great. So what's really helpful in the mirror is it's visual and verbal. So if you're in front of a mirror, your child can see what's going on. They can see what you're doing with your mouth and imitate you. And you're also maybe producing a word. I'll go back to that word more. Maybe they're seeing you produce more and they can coordinate and want to imitate as well using this big mirror. Now, it doesn't only have to be words. You can start off with silly faces. Maybe you're just doing like sad or happy, and they imitate that. And then you can build up to perhaps consonant vowel syllables. So like ba, ma, ta, things like that for your child to imitate. And then build up to maybe labeling eyes, and they imitate that as well. So having that mirror, having them being able to visually see and coordinate the sounds and movement for a word or a sound to be produced is really helpful as well. So you can have a pocket mirror, if you perhaps after brushing teeth or something in front of a large mirror, that's really great as well. Overall, when you try out these strategies, what's most important is to think about your child's mood and environment. So you know them best, you know when the right time of the day is, you know when they're at the right mood to attend. So think if it's the right time, or well, maybe they should have their nap and then let me try out some activities with them. So thinking about how ready they'd be to want to participate and engage in the activities that you're presenting. And what I mean by thinking about the child's environment, think about how clear of a space is. Now, you don't have to have a clear empty room just to do any of these strategies at all. But just thinking about, are there distractions around? What's going on around me? Is the TV on? Is the radio on? Is my cell phone chiming constantly? So thinking about the area where your child is. So make sure to have the TV off, radio off. If you're sitting on the floor, doing some floor time with your child, I think it's really great to have your child sit in a way where they can face the wall, not the window, because there can, birds flying, there's different things happening. So you want to make sure you get as much attention from your child as you can. So usually like a corner of the home is great. And toys are hidden, because then that's a distraction. So thinking about that clear environment where there isn't many distractions, that's ideal. So those I think are really key as well when you're thinking about trying out the strategies with your child. So what's their mood at this moment, and what's the environment like? Now, this brings us to technology. Is it helpful or harmful? So let's face it, technology is everywhere, all around us these days. We've all got some kind of a smartphone. There's tablets everywhere, computers everywhere. So it's time to kind of see what we can do and how we can work with it. So moderation is key. So this means really limiting how much time your child spends in front of a screen. And according to the American Academy of Pediatrics, they recommend children ages 2 to 5 limit their screen time to 1 hour per day. Now, this doesn't mean let's have my child in front of the screen for that whole hour. It doesn't mean they have to hit 1 hour. So less is always more. Using the moderation is key. And I think I'll go into some strategies on how to use technology as we go on as well. But you could do something if you're using some time limit things, doing 10-minute intervals here and there as well. And, technology today has made great advancements, and they continue to make great advancements than previous years, which is amazing. The things that are out there today, for just us in general, like humans as general, getting things at an easier rate. However, as far as like therapy and function for children, I think it's coming along. It's making its way. So I'll go through that in the next few slides as well. So this brings me to the app I've been working on. It's called ASD 123, or Accessible Speech Development. And it's an interactive learning platform to aid the language development of children. And I'll show you how it works in the next few slides, and I'll show some of the games and activities on it as well. And what I like, being in the field and working as a speech therapist, I saw many pain points. And one is, we know the child loves the iPad, they love the smartphone, so why are we not utilizing it in a manner where we can get some speech and language from them? So I'll go through that in the next slides as well. And also, it's really for parents, for you guys to have that resource and to have that structure to engage with your child and work with them and see what words perhaps are in the game to then transfer into the home environment. So I really was driving that voice technology instead of touch technology. So I really want the child to be able to be motivated to want to power our games and activities using their voice. And the best thing, it's all free to use. It's on the App Store as well as Google Play, so iOS and Android. And I'll show you the next slide a little bit about it, and then I'll go into it. So this is kind of just an intro video, information video about who we are and about what we have been working on.
Hi there. Welcome to the world of ASD 123. We are all about interactivity and learning. Here, you can power our games using your voice. Watch this. Go. Wasn't that cool? I just used my voice to play. Now watch this. Up, up, left, up. Check this out. Right, 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 right. Look at this. Go. Playing our games provides you with learning to help you with your language and communication skills. Your voice is our command. And the most important thing to remember when playing our games is to have fun.
So it's a little bit information of what we are all about. And this is one of our activities. So all of our activities are powered through voice. We know the child is motivated by fun, enticing activities. So these are highly requested things such as trains and cars. And one of the things I was thinking is why, if they love the iPad, they love the tablet, why aren't we utilizing that? Why aren't we driving some more motivation from the child to want to entice them to use some language? And the dream is to use the language in these activities, and then the child will use it in the home life as well. And that's where parents, you guys come in to kind of model it in the home life as well, the home environment. So this is a train game. And for here, this activity, the child would just say go in order for the train to in fact go. So we have with this a few levels. So it would be go, and then the train would go and make it to this level. And then those next level where once again, they would say go for one train to go, and then go again for the next one to move. And we have an activity using a ball, where this will show a little information on how that game is powered.
Welcome to the game goalpost. Say up, jump, go, start, move to move the ball upwards. Say left to move the ball to the left, and right to move the ball to the right. The goal of the game is to move these balls using these commands until the ball rests on top of the tree. Up, 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 left, up, left. Good luck.
So what I'll do now is I'll show a live version on using the tablet. It might be a little bit tricky to be able to see, but I'll try my best just to demonstrate one of our activities. So it's all free to sign up and register, and our little icon is like, it says ASD 123.
Do you want, excuse me, Sheeva, do you want to put down the PowerPoint and then maybe people can see it bigger?
Oh, that's a good point. Yes, let me, and then we'll come back to this after. So I'll stop sharing for now. Thank you for letting me know about that. Great. So yeah, I'll share after this. So this is kind of how it looks like when you have our screen, and there's all the different activities there. I'll just go to one to show. We'll go bowling. So I'll just select bowling. And then it kind of loads. And you just select collect. And single play. You could also do one-on-one as well. And just one. Got our little people dancing in the bowling alley. Go. So just kind of a live action there for how our activities work. So just really utilizing your voice to power the activities. And the bowling one also has quite a few levels to implement and utilize together. So it's a fun activity for parents to utilize with the child. I'm gonna just share my screen again. Just gonna find where am I? Oh, I think screen sharing is paused. Oh, okay.
It's saying that you started screen sharing, but nothing's coming up.
Oh, that's so strange. Okay, let me stop sharing and okay, just one moment. That page randomly closed, so I'm just gonna get it back open. Okay. So it's just opening now. Okay, it's loading. All right. So I'll just go back to attempt to share again and hopefully it. Okay.
Oh, you got it.
There you go.
Oh,
You get it.
great.
You're
It's
good.
always that, touch and go with technology sometimes.
Yeah.
Great. So I'll go back to slideshow. So that's, kind of what I've been working on with my app. And just to go back here. And so while we have it both on the Google Play and Apple, the App Store, on the iOS version or the App Store one, we have two added features, two added games. One is using something called AR or augmented reality. And what that means is you can take your camera of your smartphone or tablet, point it to a blank wall, and it's a dart game. So when you point it to that blank wall, you then hold it and a dart board will pop up and you'll just say go to the dart to hit the dart. And you can also change the word in that. So it doesn't have to be go, it could be fast. You can do up to 8 characters. So maybe working on a different word, maybe more, and have it go again. And so it's kind of like if you've ever played Pokemon Go, it's a mix of that a little bit, but using language and using a mic to power that game. And there's another activity that we have there is a bus that moves. And for that as well, you can either say stop or go for it to stop or go. And you can also change those words to up to 6 characters or 8 characters for any word that you want to work on with your child. So maybe you want to work on fast, slow, stop, sleep, things like that. You can input that and work on it with your child. So we have those two added measures on the App Store version as well. So I will just go to the next slide. So while that's the app I've been working on, there are other apps that are helpful as well. There's one called Autismo, and that offers educational activities for children. And there's also Imagination or the MITA app, which also aids in the child's learning abilities. Now, they're both apps that offer some free versions and then also, I think, some in-app purchases. But overall, they're looking for providing the child with some learning on key topics, perhaps numbers and colors as well. Now, some tips and strategies I wanted to go over and present when we're using technology with your child. I think it's great for you to be present and be a part of it instead of there you go, child, and play. When you're part of it, you can bring those words or those things from those features from the app to life, from the app to home life. So what I mean by that is we have that game called, for example, with the ball where it has to go up and the child saying up, up for the ball to move up. Now, the child has been maybe saying that word, playing it in the game. And now when they look to you, instead of just saying, gesturing with their hands to be lifted up, they might say up and lift up. So that's where you come in. You're modeling that word. Oh, you want to go up. And then you're stating it and modeling it and doing the action. So that's why I think parent and care involvement is really key and really helpful and really important to have, because it helps that learning, it helps that child, you're entering the child's world and being part of that app or that game and bringing it to life. And remembering moderation. When you set a time to end, stick with that time, because you want to make sure you have that structure as well. And as far as having those keywords from the app, what your child is using, highlight them, as I mentioned, bring them to the home environment. And it's really helpful to have a countdown to finish tech time. So maybe a reminder, you're saying at 5 more minutes, it'll finish. Now the child perhaps does not have an idea of what time is, but that's okay. You're stating 5 more minutes, 3 more minutes. And then when it's time to take the smartphone or tablet away, you're not just going to take it away cold turkey. I recommend having a countdown with your fingers, because it also gives the child to distract a little bit. So you're maybe going 10, 9, and you're counting all the way down to 0, and then you're doing like finished. And as soon as you have that finished, you're going to have to slowly take it away from your child at that point. So they're understanding, oh yeah, it's finished. They're registering like it's time to, this tech time is all done. Now, they're probably not going to like it. They're probably going to be upset and cry. But once you do that, you have that more of a routine and you're doing that more consistently, they'll understand, oh, okay, it has to go now. Yes, I don't like it, but it's something I have to do. I see it in my sessions all the time, working with children where they don't really want to give the item or the toy back. Once I've implemented, going down from 5, a countdown from 5 to 0, then saying bye, the child cried, didn't want to give it to me. So it's always kind of a war situation there, but now the child knows when it's to 0, the child actually cries, but still gives me the item because they know that's what's supposed to happen. So have that countdown to aid them. I think that's really helpful to have. And some key pieces of information to take away. Some points to wrap up with is, remember that, every child is unique. Every child has their key things that they like, things that they don't like, their own skill set. So really build and be a part of their uniqueness. Enter their world as well, to build up, perhaps if you want to build up more rapport with your child, more of your child perhaps coming to attempt different activities with you. We so much want them to come to our world, so to speak. It's okay to enter theirs as well. So what I mean by this is, I had a child that I was working with in a school. She was in preschool level or nursery level, and she didn't really want to work with me for speech therapy. Understandable. I'm a new person. So I decided for a few sessions, I'm just going to stay in the nursery, have her get to know me, build that rapport. And for one session in the nursery, she was just running back and forth from the chalkboard to the door, just back and forth. And I was like, okay, that's what I'm going to do. So I was just running back and forth with her. I would just maybe tap at the door and say door, run to the board. Oh, it's the board. That's the entire session. I got my workout in that entire session, worked with the child, and that was the session. And at the end, I said bye to her, and I went to work with another child in the nursery, and I went to sit with her at a table in a corner. And I noticed this child that I just did the activity with, she ended up coming to that session and sat with us. And just like that, entering the child's world, build that trust and rapport, and they'll want to kind of be more, comfortable. So thinking about that balance between bringing the child to our world and also entering theirs as well. And also speech therapy techniques can be built into your day. You don't need anything fancy. You don't need any gadgets. Wherever you are, just, you're capable of using them and utilizing them with your child, anywhere, really, anywhere and any place. And further to that, tech can be helpful if used in the right way. So that's that moderation, that's being involved with your child when they're using perhaps a game, being there because it's something that they enjoy. You're there with them participating in something they enjoy. So having that and using those keywords or things that are highlighted in that game, bringing them to life in that home environment so the child sees, oh, wow, it's not just in there. We can actually use it here too, having that meaning. So those are some key pieces I would say to take away and to utilize. This is my email, Sheeva at asd123.org. Please feel free to try the app. It's all free. I would love to hear from you of any likes, dislikes, opinions. I want this to be something really helpful and functional. I don't want it to be just another app. I want to make sure it's a really positive resource, something that could really help. So please, email me with any likes, dislikes, or opinions. I would love to hear from you. I want to know always how to make things better. So that would be really helpful. And some links on where you can find our app. I have the Google Play Store link there, the App Store. We're also on social media, on Twitter, ASD123_Inc. We have a LinkedIn and we have an Instagram as well. And I also do write articles on Medium from time to time. So if you're interested in hearing about more tips and finding out more resources, please feel free to check it out as well. So thank you so much for having me, and thanks for listening to my presentation.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Sheeva. That was really, really informative.
Sure.
Wonderful. All right. Well, thank you all for coming tonight. If there are any last questions, certainly would be happy to take those. And if not, hi. Hi, Marilyn. Sure.
Hi, my name's Marilyn. Nice to meet you all, you guys.
Awesome.
Yes, thank you so much.
You're very welcome. It was lovely to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Excellent. All right. Well, thank you.
Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, you guys.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Bye, guys. See you.
Everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
See you next year. Bye, everybody. Thank you for coming.